Hello, my name is Blazing4TixelBZ, and welcome back to my channel. 2 years ago today, I uploaded a video called Slendytubbies 3 Reworked by DW Studios. It's essentially just, the same game made by ZeroWorks, but it's just remastered, more enhanced. And to my surprise, it pulled over 200,000 views. Turns out the Slendytubbies community is mismatched. Turns out they love the content they see and they'll go wild to watch it. But ever since the upload, there's one haunting question that's been scratching the back of my mind. A question that flips the whole script and strategy that occurs in the mainland or even anywhere in the Slendytubbies universe. Hard to believe? Just find out. Look at this face. We know him as Tinky Winky, the monster that started this nightmare. The infected beast who slaughtered all of his friends in cold blood. But what if I told you that our understanding of this character is fundamentally wrong? But what if the worst villain in this universe was trying to be its own ultimate savior? Tonight we dive into an hour-long documentary tracking the deep, hidden, chronological order of the events and of the lore of Slendytubbies, from the catastrophic extinction of the human race to the secret pipelines operating beneath our feet. So, grab your custard, lock the doors, put a blanket over you, get cozy. And let's peel back a psychology of 100 years in the making. Is Tinky Winky the bad guy? Let's find out. Chapter 1. The Ancient Human Blueprint. To truly grasp the psychological horror of the mainland, we have to direct travel back to centuries into the past, long before a single drop of pink custard was ever made. This universe is built on a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk timeline. Hundreds of years ago, the human race was at its absolute technological peak, mastering cloning and sentient AI, but a brutal global reproductive epidemic struck out of nowhere. Mankind was frozen out, natural birth completely failed, and the species faced total extinction. In a desperate final stand to preserve their legacy, human scientists constructed the underground creation machines. Their goal was to bioprint a new species using human genetic templates. The machines meticulously mapped out fully functioning human brains, infusing them with the exact same 6 senses we have today, along with the capacity for deep human emotions like taste, smell, touch, joy, love, and agonizing terror. But the programming glitched. Instead of perfect humans, the synthetic code birthed creatures with vibrant, colorful fur and digital screens embedded in their abdomens. The humans named them Teletubbies. And shortly after the last mankind died out, the Teletubbies inherited the planet with human capacity brains but an entirely empty hard drive. Zero memories of past human lives. For a long time, the general populace lived out of this world, eating normal solid food like tubby toast, bread, vegetables, but years later, as evolution passed, modern tubby scientists uncovered these labs, ancient labs. Fearing an eventual genetic collapse, they isolated an innocent group of 4 test subjects inside a high-human tech research center called the Superdrome. To track their biological development, they placed to the right tubby, also known as the Guardian, inside a hidden underground surveillance bunker right next to the cloning vats. And to left look behind it was a house was a little vacuum called Nunu, a highly sophisticated human-made artificial intelligence vacuum assistant whose programming had silently corrupted into a ruthless, calculating mastermind. Chapter 2: Tinky Winky's Heroic Stand. This brings us directly to the fateful night of the Chapter 0. Nunu, operating on cold machine logic, decided the Teletubby species was an evolutionary failure that needed to be forcefully upgraded. He poisoned the test subject's main custard supply with a custom biological made pathogen, infecting the custard. When Tinky Winky and his friends eat it, the virus acts like a slow-burning hijacker. Tinky's first affected, gradually filling his nervous system and seizing off his motor cortex. But here's the massive low secret. Tinky Winky's gentle consciousness was still heavily in the majority of control. Realizing the pink custard was the source of the immense burning pain and intrusive thoughts in his skull, Tinky Winky made the heroic choice. He violently smashes that tubby custard. He isn't just acting out of malice and rage. He's acting out of protection, physically destroying the food supply, so Lala and Dipsy could never consume this deadly poison. And then comes the most chilling moment. He slowly turns his head, looks directly into the camera lens of the camera, and he stares. He isn't looking at the TV screen. He's breaking the fourth wall, because his human brain capacity subconsciously knows somebody is watching over them. He makes direct eye contact with the Guardian security feed. That blank, unresponsive look is a silent, desperate plea for help. It's his soul's final warning to you, the player, before he completely loses control. Knowing he can't stop the infection, he stumbles out into the dark. His panicking, claustrophobic mind avoids the tight caves and is drawn to the open horizon of the beach to isolate himself and protect his friends. Unfortunately, the isolation fails. Lala tracks him down to the exact place where he was, the coast. The exact second she calls out his name, his body violently snaps around. The sound triggers the virus's predatory hunting codes, forcing his infected hands to claw her eyes out. Violently, but notice how he immediately stops and stands frozen over her bleeding body, while she's alive, of course. He spares her. Why? Because the sheer horror of her screams causes this true, gentle soul to fight back to the virus with everything he has left, temporarily paralyzing the muscle tissue. Unfortunately for Tinky Winky's gentle consciousness, it's like living in his own skull. He can see through his eyes, his gentle soul can see through the eyes, but the virus controls his movements. He has to see himself murdering his own friends. That would have been a traumatizing moment for the rest of his life. He stands there crying on the inside, horrified by what his hands just did. Moments later, Poe finds him. Tinky Winky's virus gets affected again and violently chases after Poe. After Poe goes to the house, he finds Dipsy's head decapitated off his own body. Tinky Winky did such a traumatizing act. For Poe was instantly traumatized, waiting for his dear life in the dark until finally succumbed by a tree. Ultimately, Tinky Winky hanging her. Chapter 3: The Escape and the Pipeline Trap. While the Guardian is watching this horror unfold on his monitors, the power abruptly cuts out. To escape his room, you are forced to return a series of heavy steam valves, but here is the environmental design trap. The Guardian's bunker isn't isolated. It is a direct wing of the massive underground secret layer where Nunu is mass-producing his army. By turning those valves, you inadvertently open up sealed backup ventilation shafts and pipeline networks. Nunu utilizes this oversight. Instantly, the standard pale newborn grunts are born. Completely harmless due to a massive cloning defect in the corrupted human mechanics and machines. Lacking limbs to climb ladders, they utilize the newly opened horizontal sewer drains and steam pipes to crawl out straight off Nunu's spawning vats, right into the Guardian's living quarters. When you finally push open the hidden rock hatch and step onto the mainland, you have to find Custodes, around 5 to gather for research. While finding Custodes, you find Poe's dead body hanging from the tree. Her soul and her real consciousness completely passed away when Tinky Winky hanged her in Chapter 0. Because her body was cold, the virus sitting in a stomach was frozen, left on its own. A natural mutation would have took days. Unfortunately for Poe, her real self-consciousness could not fight back when she did regain consciousness, as she was completely dead. Tinky Winky and Lala's fate had some good consciousness fighting back. But while the Guardian finds the custard outside the house, he encounters Tinky Winky. But the massive issue is the one that surprises me. Tinky Winky just stares at the Guardian like he's about to collapse. It's giving him the death stare of a century. This means Tinky Winky's fighting back with everything he's got. The last remaining 1% real gentle consciousness is fighting back the 99% controlled virus, about to be 100. While Guardian doesn't win yet, Tinky finally gets overwhelmed and takes the custard, turning into the terrifying beast, Tinky Tang. While the Guardian is running from Tinky Tang, Nunu's harmless newborns act as his hands. They use their mouths to grip her clothing, cut her corpse down from the tree, and drag her heavy remains back through the secret pipe systems into the secret layer. Nunu shoves her into a cloning pod, pumping in high-voltage electrical energy and hot liquid strain of the pathogen to artificially restart her phase 1/its transformation. The innocent Poe never has a chance to fight back. She completely woke up as a hollow, brainwashed drone under Nunu's commands. Chapter 4: The Cave Enigma and Lala's Tragic Blindness. If the Guardian decides to take the alternative route after escaping Tinky Tang, he enters a hunting grounds of the cave with the hands of the cave tubby. This massive blind creature was originally the normal-sized tubby scientist named Luca, part of an old experiment called the Best Friends Trio, alongside the Yeti and Arrow Tubbies. But before the outbreak mutated him, how did Tinky Winky ever know to avoid the cave in Chapter 0? Because his infected brain was plugged into Nunu's global hive mind frequency, picking up broad predatory data signal radiating from the claw tubby inside, warning his instincts that the cave was already claimed by some other creature. If you bypass the cave and push into the foggy outskirts, you cross paths with Lala. After being blinded at the beach, her gentle and terrified mind woke up and fled to the outskirts. As she laid in the ruins, when the virus reached its peak, it mutated her into the Phase 1 body, long, lanky one with long arms. Because her eyes were destroyed, she's entirely blind. But the virus compensated her by granting her hypersensitive hearing. As you crouch behind stone walls just inches away from her, you have to realize the horrific internal battle happening inside his skull. Unlike Poe, Lala was mutated while fully alive. Her innocent soul is actively fighting back, compressed into a corner of her brain. This is why her monster form constantly emits deep weeping groans and agonizing cries of sorrow. She's internally mourning her blindness and her lost life. Entirely powerless to stop her own body from tracking the sound of your footsteps, she only relies on sound. Chapter 5: The Satellite Station and the Mainframe Showdown. After trapping Lala under the pillar, ultimately killing her, the Guardian enters the high-tech corridors of the satellite station. Immediately, you find Ron, the blue maintenance engineer, mutilated and dying in a pool of blood. Fortunately for Ron did not eat a custard. He was ambushed by Chainsaw Dipsy. Hours earlier, Tinky Winky decapitated Dipsy in the living room. Dipsy was already completely dead, but Nunu's airborne parasite filled his spinal cord, acting as an artificial nervous system. Since he lacks a head, Dipsy operates as a mindless puppet steered entirely by Nunu's digital commands, tracking you by syncing with your station security cameras or using the exposed raw nerves at his neck cavity as thermal sensor and vibration. When Dipsy slashed Ron open, his virus-coated chainsaw blade forced a pathogen directly into Ron's internal organs from his arms, causing him to reanimate as a one-eyed infected worker mutant, as we then seen the multiplayer, even though it is canon, of course. After tricking Dipsy into the security lasers, the Guardian takes his chainsaw and enters the mainframe hub. Nunu displays his ultimate control over technology, uploading his AI core into the base servers to hack and rewrite the programming of the massive announcer security robot. The Guardian is forced to use Dipsy's weapon to violently saw the mechanical bodyguard to pieces. With the robot destroyed, you radio SGT Miles for an emergency rescue, but as you crawl through their final air vents, your mind fractions. An innocent, cheerful Poe pops up in the vent saying, "Come play with us." This is the digital data echo, because you are crawling directly next to the high-voltage mainframe servers that control and hold all the Teletubbies' behavioral profiles. The radio frequencies are leaking into airwaves. The Guardian's brain, heavily altered by trauma and guilt and intense PTSD, intercepts these electronic memory files. Seconds later, you step into the light to face Nunu and the real mindless monster. Rejecting his orders triggers the final boss. Battle against Poe. Rapid's evolutionary form. Phase 1, Slasher, Poe. Phase 2, he then towers to his full spider form. And the ultimate muscle-bound Phase 3, New Poe form, the Guardian, uses an industrial chainsaw to chew through a spider torso, destroying her internal tech screens and severing her main spinal cord before walking away over a violently soaring physical Nunu, completely sawing Nunu with a chainsaw in half. Destroying Nunu kills the wireless satellite network. Without his AI signal powering her cellular overdrive, Poe's regeneration factor shut down permanently, leaving her massive carcass to rot like ordinary dead meat. But the nightmare doesn't drop dead yet. With Nunu's brain directing them, the thousands of armless newborns lose their tactical commander and master, and instantly revert into a wild, feral, brainless zombie apocalypse, swarming their bases in a rabid frenzy. Just as SGT Miles arrived with his military Patriot helicopters, they then hold the line and fight back. And that is the last tragedy of the Slendytubbies campaign. When you look at the science of this facility, you realize these characters were never truly evil. Tinky Winky was a monster. He was a protector at some degree. He broke the custard machine while having the parasite in his mind. That shows he wants to protect his friends and not eat more custard. He fled to the beach to isolate himself until being triggered by Lala, only taking her eyes out, sparing her completely as he knows inside he's trying to fight the virus still. Watching this tragedy through his own eyes while the virus controls his movements but soon control his mind is the most traumatizing experience you can ever live with. Poe died on the spot. He didn't deserve that. He revived, resurrected as a newborn in his own body. Same with Dipsy. Dipsy got revived, but he controlled by Nunu from his stomach TV. If he had the only good thing is he had it. Well, he got controlled as he had his spinal cord, meaning all his senses, motor, optic, all could work. For the virus to control, obviously. They were geniuses, born from human emotions and human senses, only to be called the Teletubbies. Teletubbies. Though there were 4 experiments, the other Tubbies experimented on them because they had antennas. The other Tubbies never. 4 test subjects, only to be betrayed by the technological vacuum, the mastermind of all facilities there. Betrayal. With ZeroWorks actively working on Slendytubbies, the Guardian Collection, all the events are bound to take place again. Thank you all so much for watching this deep commentary on the real lore and depth of detail you've missed or never talked about or never was aware of in Slendytubbies universe. So, my only request for you viewers who's watching right now is to please hit the subscribe button and like this video. And I will be definitely making more Slendytubby theories. But this theories today was confirmed by ZeroWorks and by me and the community, and also it matches with the game lore, of course. It's, connect all the dots together and it creates a puzzle. But hey, my new movie's coming out soon. Well, not soon, but I'm planning it on the script. Gaming videos, more Roblox, Slendytubbies, martial art videos. But hey, today was a journey. Please subscribe.